Me finally getting out of bed at 6:30 p.m. on the 1st of January. Me when a stranger compliments my attire in the pub.
This sport coat costs $800 and that costs $200. And I don't know what that costs, I'd be ashamed to wear it. That's why I'm wearing lizard shoes and a Rolex watch, and I got a limousine sitting out there a mile long.
And this was me when my wife's best friend said, "Look after her, you're really lucky to have such a kind wife." Hey guys, welcome back to the show. We're going to talk about Beast Mode. Well, really strong fragrances. Fragrances that deliver in all kind of different categories. One that will be mentioned later on is Chypre Fulminare. Don't forget, Norton Wilson fragrances at the moment have an amazing bundle deal, $380. You can buy all 4 of our fragrances in the USA. In the UK, you can buy 3 because Bon Vivant is not in stock for a similarly great value deal. Really stunning stuff. NortonandWilson.com. Stunning fragrances from our perfumer, John Stephen. New one coming out this year, maybe a citrus aromatic. Stay tuned. Let's get into it. So some absolute crackers here that all have this shared quality of lasting well and getting you smelled. I don't always focus on that so much because I always say, look, if something smells great and it's a citrus aromatic and it's a little bit light, so what? Just enjoy it, spray more, maybe take a decant with you. But if things do perform, that can be a nice thing too if they're strong and they get you smelled. Of course, it's a good thing. So here are some great examples. Ganim Me, first of all. Marc-Antoine Barrois is the brand. It's a Quentin Biche composition in terms of the perfumer. 2019 release. £180 for 100ml. You can get a 30ml bottle too, which is obviously cheaper. Can't remember the exact price. I've got that. Actually, notes on this one. You've got mineral notes, suede, saffron, akigala wood, violet leaf, Italian mandarin, my favourite type of mandarin, immortelle, and Chinese osmanthus. Who needs that Bulgarian osmanthus when you can have Chinese? Okay, this is really interesting stuff, actually. It lasts really well, definitely, and gets you smelled. It's strong. It has a fascinating kind of semi-aquatic aura. I guess the mineral notes can be mineral notes, maybe ozonic, that kind of thing, similar to kind of aquatic accords. So, tiny hints of Acqua di Gio type vibes, but it's much more complex and interesting than that. The other kind of complex, spicy notes there, the akigala wood, which I can't tell you what it is, but they're giving it this real depth and sophistication. Violet leaf, you do pick up on, and a sort of juicy citrus element coming from the Italian mandarin. It is really good stuff. It's fresh overwhelmingly, but it's got a richness and complexity that apparently I think perhaps allows it to last and project a little bit more than some of your outright citrus cologne type fragrances. Some of my favourite Creeds or, particularly Neroli Sauvage or Chanel Eau de Cologne. That kind of stuff doesn't last so well. This is a freshie that does last and deliver, and it's really beautiful and complex. So check it out. Ganymede, Marc-Antoine Barrois. Not every other Tom, Dick or Sally will be wearing that one. A bit more of a cheapie now. Bogart Pour Homme, 2004. £20 only, roundabout. You can get this online. Maurice Roussel, the perfumer, he's done illustrious things like Musk Ravageur for Frederic Malle, a great perfumer, and here he turns his hand to a real cheapie bargain. 2004 release, lavender, bergamot, orange blossom, rose, lily of the valley, tonka bean, patchouli, cedar, musk, and oak moss. And you get this wonderful blend of tobacco, lavender and tonka bean. Many people have compared it to a mix of Mugler's Pure Havane, sadly discontinued, and maybe Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mal. And I think that's quite a good description of it. It has a certain barbershop air, a little bit more of this tobacco twist in there. It's rich, it's a little bit unctuous. It always puts a smile on my face. It's a great cheapie. I really do recommend that one highly. Every fragrance fan, no, they shouldn't all have it, but some of you might like to. Next up, different category altogether, we have Fragrance Deoir Am. This was made in conjunction with the well-known YouTuber, great guy, very interesting channel, producer Michael. This is £325 for 100ml. Your note listing is Italian orange, thyme, saffron, damask rose, cedarwood, elemi, patchouli, gaiacwood, and ambroxan. The perfumer for this one is Shadi Shamra. They've also got one called PM, which I featured in the last video. This is, I think, leaning a little bit fresher than that one, although they both have certain freshness about them. Great write-ups for this one on Fragrantica, which is good news because they can be a hard and skeptical crowd, but they are all acknowledging the amazing quality and the real niche quality that shines through in this release. Juniper, cardamom, and leather have been mentioned by some people, and they're not listed in the notes officially. Spicy aromatic leather was somebody else's description. I think that's rather good. It's a green, fresh, leaning fragrance with certainly a notable leather component and fantastic tenacity and longevity. Maybe not overly in your face to a vulgar level, but it really does last and project rather well indeed. It's complex. It's sort of fresh, but it's got enough oomph that you can actually wear it year round. But I think it would just about be okay still in the heat of the part of America near Beverly Hills type area where producer Michael tends to film his videos. Really, really sophisticated, rich, strong smelling stuff, great performance. And again, not the latest Parfums de Marly or whatever everybody else is going to be wearing. It takes a little bit of knowledge about the fragrance world to track something like this down. And it's superb. Not that there's anything wrong with Parfums de Marly either. They're okay. There's some good fragrances from them. Okay, moving on. We're going to do... What are we doing next? Oh, yes, we're doing this one. We are doing the one that I've lost. The one that I've lost. Next up, we're going to do one from Norton Wilson. That's our brand here in the UK. John Stephen, the perfumer, and its 2022 release, Sheep Perfume RA Lemon. Forgive me, it is my own brand, so, I'm biased, but I think it is fantastic and it lasts really well. Lemon, lime, ylang ylang, orange, incense, leather, vetiver, oak moss, labdanum, castoreum, and ambergris. You can pick this up for £95 in the USA for 100ml or $120. Remember that amazing bundle deal, though, in both cases in the UK and the USA. Fantastic bundle deals where you can get 3 or 4 of the fragrances. And it really is a fantastically... We kind of conceived it maybe as a powerhouse sheep perf for the 21st century, whatever that means. It has actually quite a nice zesty, citrusy opening with the combination of the lovely floral accord of ylang ylang with orange, lemon and lime. Then you get this wonderful component which you need really in a sheep perf fragrance, which is the incense, and that combined with the labdanum accord, which is part of the incense note really, so it's a bit weird that we listed both, but you kind of get what we mean there. Incense and labdanum are going on in there, and this semi-undertone of tiny hints of animalicness from the castoreum, a leather accord which is very different maybe to the one that we mentioned there that you may determine you can smell in AM from producer Michael. I think that's a little bit, reminds me a tiny bit of the Tuscan leather type leather accord, a very lovely modern kind of leather, smooth suede-roll type tone. It's not prominent in there, but it is in there. And this one a little bit more of the rugged old school kind of leather that you got in things like Aramis from... Aramis. That would have to be really, wouldn't it? And that is kind of coming from the castoreum accord as well, which can be used to create a leather effect. Really dynamic and phenomenally rich fragrance, our most complex and rich fragrance, and we find a really, really good performer, longevity and projection. Absolutely great on that one. Finally, we're going to do Jacques Bogart Foreo, 2 releases from Bogart, and they are good for their longevity, this brand. And we've got 100 mils there, £80 for that one. 1988 release from Ron Vinograd, big Ron Vinograd there. Lavender, Artemisia, coriander, bergamot, jasmine, geranium, rose, cinnamon, civet, amber, vetiver and patchouli. Quite simply, it's a bit like Koros, but more so. It's everything but the kitchen sink type of vibes with the smell. Kind of a hint of an almost exotic incense thing added to the sort of animalic, rugged, masculine thing that you got in Koros. Some people say pissy notes. I think that's bonkers. I can kind of see what they mean, but it has got civet, so there's an animalic undertone and a very actually rich, complex and potent masculine aura that you're going to get from this fragrance. Well worth it for the £80, although I think it used to be a cheaper fragrance than that, but it's still worth it. And it is beast mode. It is probably the strongest of the lot. Nuclear performance, if you want that. It's not always a good thing, but I tell you what, it does half smell strong. So check that one out, guys. Let me know if you've enjoyed the video, or even if you haven't. Watch of the day, wristwatch of the day is my GMT Master from Rolex, 1999 model. Love that faded so-called pink lady bezel there. Please subscribe if you've enjoyed the video, or even if not, maybe the next video will be better. It could hardly be any worse. We'll see you in the next one. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project, and although life may sometimes stink, at least we can always smell good. Bye-bye.